this reports Aaron Wilson, Clint. Texans interviewing their current quarterbacks coach, Jerrod Johnson, early this week for the offensive coordinator position. He has been instrumental in C.J. Stroud's growth, also in the report. But he is most definitely not a surprise. We had James Palmer on Friday, and he said he is a very serious candidate, and as serious as such, we hear he is getting interviewed for it. Not a surprise there. So that is taking place. This is getting serious. Do you think there's a situation in which, like, he could really blow them away, and this could be the next OC?
Yeah, look, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a chance that he could get in a meeting room, and now everything shifts, right? It's not about being a former player and playing the quarterback position at a high level and being able to communicate at a high level and knowing C.J. Stroud. Now it switches to from an overall play design, game plan, play calling, next level, higher level, do you feel like that between your experience with him and the conversations you're having with him now, do you feel like that is the right direction? Is this a guy – because I do believe and I pray and I hope that this is super important to DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caserio. And I use Laramie Tunsil because we all know Laramie's all know the ripple effect that a guy like Laramie has on the offensive line. Like, whoever this guy is needs to have the ability to command more from Laramie Tunsil on down. Is a guy that's been in the building, that's young in the profession, does he have that ability as well? Right? I mean, so there's a lot of factors here with this offensive coordinator hire that I think when you go with a guy that's never done it, you better be surefire about a couple of other things, right? And it's more so about, again, being able to coach the position in individual drill and being able to coach the position in a meeting room and being really close to C.J. Stroud. That is all great for an offensive for a quarterback coach. Means absolutely nothing as an offensive coordinator. In fact, I can argue at this point in time that they need to distance themselves a little bit from C.J. Stroud.
See, that's where I was
the C.J. Stroud. It runs everything, and C.J. Stroud is the head coach's buddy, and C.J. Stroud, you can argue that, hey, man, what this offense needs is somebody that's a little less buddy-buddy with everybody.
Well, that's what I was gonna say to you. What would it signal to you, like, if straight up, what would it signal to you if Jerrod Johnson got the job? And to me, I could be dead wrong. Not that he's not qualified for it, because I could see him getting the job with the Jets. Hell, he's as qualified as Bobby Slowick was. Hell, even offensive passing game coordinator. So, but the number one thing that I can't help for what it would signal to me is CJ really wants him. To me, if it were Jerrod Johnson in this, it would be like CJ really, really wants him. Now, in some ways, like, for some people, I think people hear that and say, okay, yeah, CJ CJ should have some real say-so in it. But that's the part to me where I don't know if it should be a CJ really wants him. I kind of agree with you. I almost think it should be somebody that neither one of them, DeMeco or CJ, have a relationship with, so that person can come in and feel very comfortable implementing what it is that they want to implement and say and do what they want to do.
Agree wholeheartedly, Ron. You can argue that with the Texans offensive coordinator search, high up on the priority list should be, I'm going to rule with an iron fist, and I don't want to be anybody's friend. I don't want to be Laramie Tunsil's friend. I don't want to be lenient on Laramie Tunsil. I don't want to be C.J. Stroud's buddy. I don't want to be lenient to C.J. Stroud. I don't want to be anybody's buddy. I'm coming in here and I'm putting my foot down, and we're going to demand perfection across the board, whether we're talking route running or we're talking about the footwork, the mechanics and techniques associated with executing certain blocks in the pass game and the run game. You're talking about chips with the tight ends and being more physical. just the thought, right? I don't want to be nobody's buddy. This is how the Texans offense is going to operate. And if you don't agree, if you don't want to operate, if you don't want to fall in line and you don't want to show up and show out and show this level of physicality, this level of technique work, this level of commitment, then you can be a great player. Like D'Amico said many a times, it just ain't here. You can move on and be a great player in the NFL. It's just not here if you're not going to do things this way on the offensive side of the football. I believe that high up, if not number one, extremely high up on the priority list, that's what the Texans need in an offensive coordinator, not another guy that is just familiar and close to C.J. Stroud.
The only way it would make sense, and they're the only ones who know, is if Clint, this was just simply a deal where Bobby Slowick was just going rogue, and he was just like, nah, man, I'm to hell with anybody else.
Yeah,
I'm rolling on my own. And it was clearly a deal of, no, like everybody else wanted to play ball and do what was needed except for him. And that's just got to be the change. That's the only one. But we won't ever know that. They're the ones who know that. But
well, if that's the case, the offensive line coach got a raw deal.
Well, and to me, the reason why I don't know that I lean so much on that is, Clint, if that was the case, then you would have made the move on Bobby Slowick, right? You would have moved on him during the season if that was it. Like instead of just letting it continue to go. So I don't know. We'll see. The other part on this, Clint, is Jonathan Jones, CBS yesterday during the pregame show talked about Chip Kelly and said Ohio State's offensive coordinator Chip Kelly is a top candidate for this job. Listen, Chip's a little out there. He's a little different. Chip's success has come more in college than it did with the Eagles or the Niners in the NFL. But I think he does fit he's a guy that comes in that I don't think will have any issue ruling and running this thing. He's had experience. He's been a head coach on the college level, the NFL level. He's a guy that can run the show.
Yeah, look, I flipped on my opinion last week of Chip Kelly. It was kind of thrown out there. You threw it out there, and it kind of caught me by surprise. And I was like, I haven't heard a lot of guys that really like Chip Kelly, so I don't know if I'd go the Chip Kelly route, right?
I'm still up in the air with it, by the way.
I flipped on it. I think it's, as I just said, I think it's more necessary that you get a guy in here that don't take no crap. Right? You just fall in line, get it done. He will not take crap from any players anywhere, no matter how good you have been or how good you are at this point in time. So I've done a 180 on Chip Kelly. I would have no problem at all. I could get completely in on Chip Kelly. I'm not the biggest Chip Kelly fan, but I could definitely get in on Chip Kelly being the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. All he's got to do is handle the offense, and he can handle that offense with that iron fist that we're talking about. Can demand physicality out of these guys. Ron, that's one thing he brought to the table, even back in his Oregon days. My man's going to put a run game together. I mean, they're going to put a dynamic run game together. He believes in being physical, and apparently he rules with an iron fist. Man, I would have no problem with Chip Kelly being in here and him being the offensive coordinator. So, that would be. That'd be solid.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the one thing that does help is we didn't hear any rumbles or issues with Ryan Day. Now it's 1 year.
Yeah,
we didn't hear any rumbles.
Jim Knowles got his ass up out of there. He already lost his D coordinator. Got up out of there. Came to the league.
Yeah. So that's good. He showed he could work, like he could work with it, right? And I think but to me, this is what is D'Amico looking for? Does D'Amico want to have some say-so in it? Because this is a big move for D'Amico, right? Like this one's got to be right? And does he want more say-so, or does he legit want this thing to be like Sean McVay? And Sean McVay said, "Here, I'm hiring Wade Phillips, and Wade, it's yours." Or does he want a little bit more input?
Yeah. Look, the D'Amico input thing is interesting. I would imagine he wants to make the decision in damn self at this point in time. The other interesting thing, Ron, about the Texans' offensive coordinator search to me is, and the fact that Chip Kelly is being brought up, and I don't know how credible it is or not, but just bringing up the chip. I do believe that the Texans offensive coordinator search or their next hire, I do believe it needs to be go hire the best guy that is willing to take the leap. If that's stealing somebody else's offensive coordinator, whether it's somebody in the league or somebody that just won a national championship at the college level, I do think that this search needs to be wider than just the same retreads that were just fired for underperforming somewhere else or the inexperienced guys in the house. The Texans are at a spot where it is we're going to go from divisional round to competing for a Super Bowl, and I think this is one place. This is the one place where I think major change could occur and the right hire could immediately push them into that conversation. That would necessitate that would facilitate the necessary change on offense that I believe could put them in the serious talks about truly contending. But you got to go take somebody's offensive coordinator. You can't just settle for somebody in-house or settle for somebody that's available in the streets.